Well, Dolly, it is so good to see you again, and particularly to talk about the best little whorehouse in Texas, because it's in Texas, of course, one of our legends and one of my favorite musicals. And whatever reservations I might have had about a movie version of this have been completely erased. I love it.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that, because we were real concerned about it, because coming from a play and doing a movie from a play, and it's tricky. Sometimes it's not as good, and we had a lot of problems, as you know, with the movie changing hands so many times from people that originated and were going to direct it, and somehow through the studios it gets shuffled around. And we were hoping that people would like it because there was so much publicity from that angle of whether or not it was going to be a good movie. But from the looks of the premiere, it turned out real well, and I was so relieved and happy, and I'm glad you were complimentary of it. I'm glad you liked it.
Dolly, I wonder, though, about your folks back home. They're going to say, Lordy, our Miss Dolly being a madam. You know, how are you going to handle that?
Well, when I first had the opportunity to do this picture, I had some reservations about whether or not I should do it, just because of the title. Because my granddad being a preacher and being brought up in a very religious area and in a religious family, and the country music fans in general being very, you know, religious people as a rule, the Bible Belt, so to speak. And I really thought a lot about it. I prayed about it. I talked to my granddad about it, and I talked to my folks, and I said, you know, it sounds like it's a real horrible thing, but the person, I mean, it's like a story. It's a musical comedy, and it's not that big a deal. It's not like I'm actually going to run a whorehouse. I'm just going to play the part. So that was all fine, and I don't think anybody is having that much of a problem, because the people back home know me. And they know my personality. They know I like to try things. They know I like a challenge. So I don't think there's going to be no problem as far as, I just was worried about my granddad and my mom mostly. But they said they'd be on the front row. So we'll see.
How about your husband? Will he see it, do you think?
He'll see it, but he don't like to get involved in all the show business stuff. As a matter of fact, when we did 9 to 5, the first movie I did, we had the premiere in Nashville, the preview, and for my folks and his folks, but he didn't go. And he won't go to the preview I'm having for this one at home. He waited until it came out in the theater. He waited in line. He bought his ticket. He went and sat down and he watched it. And he went back like another time or two, on and off through the last 2 or 3 years. And so that he'll do the same with this one. But he will, he'll say either he liked it or he didn't like it, or he liked this about it and he didn't like that. But all in all, he's become quite a Dolly fan now that he's over the nervous part of whether or not I'm going to do good or not.
Dolly, it's not just my thought, but a number of people are saying, you know, that 9 to 5 made you a movie star, but this is going to make you a superstar. Now,
goody.
Is superstar what you've been working towards?
Well, I guess only because I just like to always improve what I'm doing. When I say I want to be a superstar, that just means I want to be the best at whatever I do. I want to do the best I can do. I don't mean I want to be better than everybody else. I just want to be a superstar from my own standpoint and what I feel like I've accomplished. Because I think we all got to accomplish what we feel like we want to, and who knows what all they can accomplish. I think we're here to try to do the best we can, and if you've got the freedom to really go for it, and if you really like that sort of thing, I think it's real good. But when I get this one out of the way, I'll be thinking of something else, because I'm always dreaming. I think you can always live if you can always dream, and this is really living.
What is your ultimate dream then, Dolly?
Just to be happy, to be as productive as I can be, make as many people happy as I can, make as much money as I can so I can do for more people. And I just want the freedom to work, and everybody else can have the money. Just give me enough for what I need, expenses and anything I want, much food as I can eat, and a car to drive, and a plane ticket, and just let me work. I just like doing it. I really do.
Dolly, some stars, superstars, get a guilt feeling about, you've known people who have a guilt feeling about their success, and not only just in show business. Have you had a glimmer of any of those guilt feelings?
That's a real good question, because I never had before. In the last several months, one of the reasons that the movie, I think, got very hard for me, because there was a lot of emotional things I went through about my family, like my mom and dad had been threatened by people, you know, like my dad they almost got kidnapped. And my folks, like, that you go places, and, you know, like my brothers take a lot of pride in the work they do. Like, one of them's a carpenter, and they like what they do. But people say, you're Dolly Parton's brother and you're working on a damn job like this, as if they're supposed to just expect, me to do it. But my brother said, well, I can tell you if I needed something, she'd be the first, and she has done it, and this and that. But it's like, it makes it hard on my family. And I went through a guilt thing that I was really causing a lot of pain in my family by being successful. And it was, the more successful I got, the more aggravation it was becoming to them. Not that they held it against me, but I was feeling guilty. So I went through a thing where I cried a lot of nights thinking, well, I wonder if it's worth it. I wonder, if I would have been better off to stay at home, if we'd all been happier down on the farm. And then I talked to my folks about it, and they said, don't be silly. I mean, you can't be sorry for being successful. You can't be sorry for being you. And besides, I'm not the only one in my family that sings and writes, and there's several of my younger brothers and sisters that's going to be huge stars. And so I had to kind of justify that somewhere in my mind. But yeah, I went through an emotional thing. Not just, it's like, and even with just people, I got guilty about making the money. I thought, well, there's too many poor people in the world, and it's like, but then I think, well, I do the best I can with everybody. I'm willing to do just about anything I can to make improvements in any areas that I see and with people. And I kind of prayed it all through, and I felt much better about it.
Dolly, I've told you this before. You're just absolutely irresistible. Your sweetness and your candor. And everybody comes out of the interview saying the same thing. So,
really?
Yes.
Good. So are you going to do that? Well, you made me feel good.
Dolly, you are. You're sweet. And
well, you're pretty and you're sweet. And you're good at what you do.
Thank you. That's a very lovely compliment.
Well, it's sincere.
And Best Little Whorehouse in Texas is going to be a tremendous hit, and so will your next movie, whatever it is.
Well, I hope so.
Thank you, Dolly.
Thank you.
You're a love.
Bye.
I interviewed Stella when she was at the Fairmont Hotel working.
Oh, yeah.
And
You
she's a
want
character,
some cutaways
too.
first, and then you're going to ask the questions, or just the questions?
I need just a little bit of reaction and then
Okay.
my reverse questions. Yeah.
Okay.
And do not have the flowers in the picture to give it away. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Excuse me if I seem abrupt, but I know we're in a hurry, so I try to move it along.
You are
Okay.
rude. You're just that smile would just make turn anybody off.
Okay.
You tell me.
And cutting me about here.
A little lower?
I can't see the monitor,
Okay,
but
there we are.
yeah.
We're
Okay.
now.
All right.
Got it. Okay, stand by.
I'll
This
do.
is your cutaway first.
Yes. Okay. Is this a good fix?
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Okay.
Dolly's going to
So, actually, I'm supposed to be talking to
Yes.
you, and what were we talking
No,
about?
you don't
last
need to.
year? I don't need to?
Mm-mm.
Oh, but I wanted to.
Dolly does not like to sit quietly.
I just do not like to sit and let somebody sit on the spot when I could ease them off of that. It's at least to give you a little reason to nod your head rather than just sit there and just think you got palsy or something. It's. But don't you laugh now. I mean, it's you're supposed to be more sincere here. She's professional. She don't break for nobody.
Charles Durning and myself. Okay. Now questions.
quiet.
Yeah. Questions for
Okay.
sound. Okay.
Okay, here we go. Stand by. And go.
So, Dolly, what are you going to say to the folks back home when they're saying, "Oh, our Dolly is playing a madam"? Is superstardom what you've been working for, Dolly? So many people who are successful get guilt feelings about that. Have you had a glimmer of any such feelings? Okay. Oh. Will your husband see the film?